Yo, 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 what's up, world, and welcome to the 140th episode of the Take One Podcast. I am your host, August C. Jones, and today we only got a few things to talk about. We're going to talk about new movie release dates. We're going to talk about some stuff that's concerning AMC theaters, and then I'm going to get my thoughts on last night's WrestleMania, and just that. I'm not going to do a whole recap of breakdown or anything, but I'm just going to give my quick thoughts about certain stuff that stood out to me. But just right off the top, let's talk about the new movie release dates. Now, it's not new to anybody because of the current circumstances, impacting the world. As we know, a lot of movies have been pulled from release dates, either sent to VOD early or just possible, determining whether or not to send it straight to streaming. And certain movies have just been pulled. Certain movies have been put to a later date. Some movies have literally been pushed into next year. And so I have a list of a lot of the movies that were put to new release dates and stuff. And it's not I'm not gonna give every single movie. There is I got a good list, but there are a lot of movies that probably are still in the ether, and waiting on putting on a new release date or just waiting on seeing how things develop or whatnot. And other movies you've already know about, so I don't need to touch on new No Time to Die or F9 or anything like that, because those are already known those were pushed. They was already given a new release date. But other movies have recently been pushed to new release dates, and I may not grab every single one of them, but here's the ones that I put down. So just starting off with Marvel, because Marvel is life. So we're gonna start off with Black Widow. As we all know, it was supposed to come out May 1st, and it got pushed to November 6th of this year, which was the current date, which were the former date of the Eternals, which got pushed to February 12th, 2021. I need to change that, but February 12th was Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, which got pushed to May 7th, 2021. May 7th was originally Doctor Strange in the Universe of Madness, got pushed to November 5th, 2021. Now in 2022 is Thor Love and Thunder, which was at first November 5th, 2021. It got pushed to February 18th, 2022. And Black Panther kept its original release date. It hasn't moved despite everything else that been going around, which it kind of fits normally because they kind of pick certain dates to release, Marvel films. It's, November, May, July, and February and stuff like that. So it stays in May, which was May 6th, 2022, and Captain Marvel 2 is July 8th, 2022. And we have a lot of other ones. So as we know, Mulan got pushed. Well, it got pulled or whatever from its release date. This is right weeks before, it was supposed to come out, and everything, all the theaters got, basically, not even, the theaters didn't even shut down before, they had pulled it. It was basically, they were limiting everything and everything else, so they had to pull it once they knew that, it wasn't going to make the money that it was probably going to make. Let's be honest. No matter how you feel about these Disney remakes, Mulan was going to make money. It more than likely was going to possibly be in the $1 billion club. We don't know, but with Disney, anything is possible. But it was supposed to come out March 27th, and now it got pushed to July 24th of this year. And Jungle Cruise got pushed a whole year. So it's supposed to come out July 24th, 2020. Now it's pushed to July 30th, 2021. Which I can see, I don't know, that's the thing. Well, you know what? I'm going to touch on it once I'm done labeling off all the other push, new release dates. But A Quiet Place 2 was pulled from March 15th, which if you look at it, was the first movie, big movie to get pulled from its release date because of what's happening. And it got pushed to September 4th, 2020. And it will be coming out this year. Let's hope that things are better by then. Wonder Woman 1984. I had basically mentioned this on a past podcast. The release date was June 5th, and it got pushed to August 14th, 2020. So it's still coming out this year, just a little bit later. And Candyman was supposed to come out June 12th, and now it got pushed to September 25th, 2020. And Free Guy, July 3rd to December 11th, all this year. As well as Top Gun Maverick was supposed to come out June 24th, but because of, the everything that's happening, got pushed to December 23rd, 2020. Godzilla vs. Kong was supposed to come out March 13th, now got pushed to November 20th, 2020. And just looking at everything else, I can't really say. Because I'm looking at it from just my point of view as a fan. I'm not like a businessman. I haven't been in the business of like movie theaters and, as far as movie studios and everything else, and see how they work and the reasons why they do stuff. But I understand the reason of why taking a movie, and just to be on the safe side, because you could take a movie that was supposed to, let's say, come out Friday, like Trolls World Tour. Take it off its release date and push it to August, the first Friday of August. Whatever that is. I'm not even about to look it up. But the first Friday of August. And let's say things aren't better by then. Then they're going to have to pull it again and maybe push it to like November. And then let's say things ain't good by then. So I guess I can agree with like movies like The Jungle Cruise or, Fast 9. Or maybe even other movies that I'm not even thinking about right now. They got new release dates and pushed a whole year later. That is just to be on the safe side. Because regardless on if things happen to be better by June or August or even September, you kind of want to get it in a good release date. And that's all of what it is about. That's why certain movies put movies out at certain times of the year, because that's when a lot of people are, wanting to go to the movies. If it's a blockbuster like F9, you're going to want to put it in a, realm where people are going to the movies more often than not. And they have certain times of the year where they're kind of calmed down and stuff. People aren't going to the movies as much and stuff. And you don't want to put your movie out, especially if you want that movie to make a lot of money. You're not going to put your movie out around that time. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And I get that. There's certain points of why that way you can amp up, the marketing for it again, since everything that's happening kind of messed everything up. I think even like some weeks ago, even like a little bit after the whole shutdown of theaters and Fast 9 got pushed to, next year, I still saw a Dodge commercial advertising the car as well as the movie and all that stuff. And of course, I haven't seen it yet. It got pulled because of, the movie coming out next year. But, these movies need time to advertise that, okay, yeah, this movie is coming out. And, a lot of times you're going to need months, especially for a big major budget. You're going to need to know, you're going to need to let people know months in advance that this movie is coming out. Prepare for it. This movie is coming out. It's 2 months. 3 months, this movie is coming out. 2 months, this movie coming out. 1 more month, this movie coming out. This Friday, you're going to need that amount of time. So I understand why movies push back a whole year. But I don't know, like, I guess you could say I can't really be against it. Because a movie like F9 is a movie that I really do want to see. I started to be a bigger fan of the Fast and Furious franchise ever since Fast 5. So I have been looking to it. Some of them been up and down, but stuff like that. Anyway, as far as like A Quiet Place and stuff like that, it's like, I want to see those movies as quick as possible, as soon as possible. And I understand that, certain circumstances, like, it's not allowing that, so I can only just morally anticipate the movies that are still coming out this year just later on, like a Candyman, A Quiet Place 2, Mulan, No Time to Die, and, just stuff like that, just movies like that, Wonder Woman 1984. So I can't really go against that. And Godzilla vs. Kong. Wow. Godzilla vs. Kong is another movie that I really want to see. I really did like Godzilla King of the Monsters. Didn't love really at all Godzilla, think it's 2014. I did like Kong Skull Island, so I was really anticipating this movie. I wanted to see what this movie was going to give, so when it comes down to it, I understand the whole year push with Jungle Cruise and F9, and I also get I'm really more, I guess you could say, I don't know, I can't say basically I agree with the whole thing. I came into this really with the frame of mind thinking that they're overreacting to it, pushing the whole year, but I kind of get it. Kind of get it now. I'm understanding it as I'm talking. But also, just another thing to note that's a part of this, and I'm just going to go ahead and wrap this up because I don't want to talk too long on this subject, is that Artemis Fowl, a movie that I don't think a lot of people were looking forward to. I seen the trailer. It wasn't anything on my radar. Let's put it like that. It wasn't anything on my radar. It wasn't anything that, from what I hear, a lot of people didn't even know about it or wasn't really looking forward to it or whatever and all that stuff. So I don't think it was a movie that was going to make too much money. I think it was going to be a movie that was going to make a fair amount of money, maybe break even or something, but it wasn't going to be a major, blockbuster for Disney as a movie. So recently it just got not pulled from its release date, but it ended up getting put to Disney Plus May 29th. It's supposed to come out in theaters that day, and it got pulled and put straight to Disney Plus because I like I just said, I feel like they felt like it wasn't going to make the numbers that they wanted it to make. So, I mean, with that, I kind of agree with that. Like I said, I just recently actually saw the trailer very recently, I think maybe a couple days ago, and it wasn't anything that really caught my eye. I mean, it's something that I would check out, don't get me wrong. I see a lot of movies a year, but it's not a movie that I would really look forward to. It's a movie that I would take my son to go see, but it's not a movie that I would be like, I definitely gotta go see this. But who knows, it may be just awesome, who knows. But when it comes down to it, I understand a lot of these release dates, and I'm glad that Marvel is able to shift their release dates to where it still looks kind of good, and all these other release dates is good that they're still coming out within that year that they're coming out, like Mulan, Candyman, Free Guy, Top Gun, and all of them. So let's hopefully things get better before, let's say kind of within the gap of June and August. Now, to kind of still stay in the realm of that and segue into this next topic. So I don't know how many of y'all have AMC stubs, A-list, or have a AMC theater that's near you, that's the main theater that you go to, or that may be the only theater that's near where you're staying at. So that's basically your only option. But things aren't looking good for AMC. So I have an AMC Stubs A-list, and they are the main reason why I see a lot of the movies that I see per year. I mean, don't get me wrong, my job allows me to see the movies that I want to see, but man, if I went down the list of just how many movies I've seen in theaters last year, or just in theaters this year, let's say it came out of pocket, I'll probably be looking at over $200, probably more than that. And that's just on me by myself. But AMC is kind of in trouble right now. When it comes to these theater shutdowns, man, AMC is just not looking at it. So A&P Global says that they're in risk of running out of cash by mid-summer. And they don't think that theaters will be opened up by June. And that's just that's really, I don't know, that's really depressing. And not even just because this is a whole entertainment type show, that I'm doing right here. So I'm not going to touch on other things, this is just strictly just entertainment. I got to keep it at that. But when talking about everything that's going on in these movies and all that stuff, this really is affecting and kind of a little bit of the economy. You got people that's going to be losing their jobs. You got movie studios that's going to be highly affected by it because they're not going to have anywhere to show their big budgeted movies that they need to make the money back, that they literally don't just all right, man, we got all this money in the vault and we about to put it on the movie, that they need to make it back because they've borrowed from like banks. So they got loans from banks, so they need to pay back the banks, marketing, and still have money to spare to have, the function as a company. So it affects all of that. So people are going to be losing their jobs and stuff. There's all around the board. And AMC CEO Adam Aron, I guess that's how you pronounce it, said on CNBC that they expect AMC theaters to stay closed beyond June due to the what's happening. I don't even know if I can. I mean, I don't get these videos monetized, but I just don't want to say what's happening. But everybody knows, unless you've been living under a rock, due to what's happening, and that they believe that AMC doesn't have the significant sources of liquidity to cover its expected negative cash flow past midsummer, and that the company will likely breach. And that is just really alarming, like, just to know that a theater that is well known, like anybody that goes to the movie theaters, you don't even got to go to it that much. You know an AMC. That's the top of the line, most popular movie theater. Under that, you got Regal, Cinemark, and stuff like that. And which a lot of people, I could go up to, like, certain people that I work with, certain friends that I know, and they literally could not tell you. They probably would have not heard of Cinemark, and they probably may not have heard of Regal theaters, even though they're like the second and third, or one of the top five, two of the top five biggest movie chains in America. They're not as big as AMC, so AMC has a lot to lose. Plus, they've invested in a lot of remodeling and everything in their big theaters, as doing AMC Primes, doing the recliner seats and stuff like that, and making it a little bit more, upscale in a sense, I guess you could say, as well as doing the AMC stubs, which really, which wasn't until like last year really started to make a profit. And because of everything that's happening now, it's kind of crazy. Just think of it as kind of like you just recently opened up a business, whatever business it may be. And it's like, it's something that you've been dreaming about. It's something that you just dreaming about, and you put all this money up into it and everything else. And you finally get it up and running. You run it for a few months, and then all of a sudden you got to close it because of world events. So now all that money that you put into it, you can't make it back. You're constantly losing money. It's kind of like that. It's just AMC invested a lot of this money to do this remodeling for AMC stubs and all that stuff, which is a lifesaver for people like me. And now they're in a position to where they may not be able to open back up when theaters are allowed to open their doors. Like, that is just crazy to look at it. And their credit rating by the S&P basically went from a B minus to a triple C minus with an outlook negative. Like, that is just, I don't know. Like, it's sad to hear that, because you got to think, people that's going to be losing their jobs. I know I've been looking every day on my job to see any news, or or if it's looking at it, because my job is connected to Ford. So if Ford opens and able to operate, my job is able to operate, because we make the parts that Ford uses in their cars. So it's like, I'm looking at stuff like that. I can only imagine what people that work at AMC theaters are kind of, what's going through their mind. Like, damn, we may not even open. So they're probably looking for jobs right now. It's just, that's something that you just really can't wait on. I really would not want to be in that position, but it's crazy to look at it. And government authorities estimate that, the peak will be between June and August of everything that's happening, that things will be able to go step by step getting back to normal. But it's not a guarantee. I don't even know how long I'm going to be out of work. I could probably be on unemployment until the end of this month. It could expand longer than that. And a lot of people are in a similar boat, and it's crazy to think that. And the company will pursue incremental financing through the CARES Act. So hopefully the government will be able to help AMC get back up on its feet slowly but surely, but it's not sure on if it will be able to secure additional liquidity. And I would just hate to be in that position, because just to look at AMC not having enough money to stay afloat, it's just crazy. But I mean, a lot of these big businesses, I mean, Disney right now is in hard times. You know, I guess you could say the bigger the business and the more expanses, more companies and everything you have attached that's not able to operate, the more money you lose per year or per month or however. You know, it's just crazy to realize it. And that just shows you how real all of this is. And S&P also stated that they will raise the rating of AMC if they can secure additional liquidity and if it looks like the company can be sustainable in their cash flow in 2021. So hopefully they can get back up on their feet. Right now, it just really is looking bad for them. And not just bad for them, but bad for everybody else. Right now, I don't know too much about what Regal is dealing with. I mean, they're dealing with the same stuff, but I don't know if it's as bad as AMC or Cinemark or any other big chain theaters that are mostly taking over the U.S. or whatnot. If they're falling on really, really hard times where it's looking like they may not bounce back from this. But it's sad to hear that. You know, AMC, that's a movie theater that I've been going to for years. Like where I live at, AMC is like 15 minutes away from me. You know, I got two of them right next, literally like walking distance away from each other. I don't know why they're that close, but they're literally like walking distance, probably about 5 minutes away from each other. Driving distance, probably about 1 or 2 minutes. You know, so it's crazy just to read all this stuff, but hopefully things get better for them. Hopefully things get better for just the whole world and everybody else. Everybody can go back to their normal routines and all that stuff, and we don't have to stay in our houses and chill. Don't get me wrong, I've been enjoying my time off, but you know, it's kind of depressing. It really is. But jumping off of that, let's get into the last thing. And I'm so glad that I cut it down to 3 topics. That way I won't make it too long. The third thing is kind of like bringing back a segment, but I don't even want to look at the segment. But it's talking about WrestleMania. So WrestleMania was this past weekend, 2-night event. It was a 2-night event. And so like I said in the beginning of the podcast, I'm not going to go over a recap. I'm not going to break down every single match or anything like that. I'm just going to go through certain things that are basically really worth talking about. So the 2 of the main big things that I'm going to get into are the cinematic matches that they had, as well as the 2 major title changes that they had on the show. And first, let's just get into the Undertaker versus AJ Styles match. Now, this is one thing that I had said on the Take One podcast before, when I was talking about WWE and what they need to do as far as everything that's going on right now. They don't have any audience, so I just said there a way that they can include the WWE Universe fans into the show, where they can just make it really interactive. And so I think I'm going to make a separate video and just make it where I'm just saying that. Hopefully somebody at WWE can hear me when I say it, but I don't know. It's like, it's a great idea. If I was behind the scenes, I would implement it. But as far as the match goes, it was everything that I thought that it should be. I did mention that right now with them recording everything, they are in a great position to where they can add and take stuff out. They can edit whatever they want to, whatever they like throughout the match or whatever, or throughout the show. Just in general, that, you know, you can add aspects that you would not be able to do live with The Undertaker or certain other wrestlers. And that was one thing that they did. They shot the Boneyard match in the vein of kind of like the last deletion, the final deletion. I think that's what it's called. Yeah, the final deletion with Matt Hardy, what they did in TNA and all that stuff, and what WWE tried to do with, I know they tried to do it with Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt a few years back. And then the New Day did it with another tag team. Oh my gosh, I cannot think about it. It doesn't ring a bell who it was, but they tried to do it as well. So it was kind of in the vein of that. And they actually did it pretty good. You had AJ Styles acting weird as hell, coming out of coffin. You had the Undertaker coming in style on his motorcycle on to a Metallica song. I don't listen to rock and roll, metal type music, so I can't really, get my thoughts on the song. But basically, it was a pretty good match. It was really good. I really did enjoy it. I love the aspects that they had, like Gallows and Anderson come in and kind of like help him, as well as hooded figures or whatever come trying to take down the Undertaker. And I didn't think they should have gone really ridiculous with it, but I guess you could say it was kind of good that they didn't. But I think that they should have did the whole lightning thing with like the Undertaker, how he has these supernatural elements, and they did kind of implement that with like him, throwing up his fist at the end of the match, and the roof catching on fire, and then the whole thing where he got thrown into the pit with by AJ Styles, and AJ Styles is about to bury him, but then he appeared behind AJ Styles. That's certain elements that they should put in these matches, and they should do a lot more matches like that. Like this is kind of like a good way to get more creative with the show, which I think I will do a Triple W podcast to talk about it more, because I'm not trying to talk ears off and make this podcast longer than what it actually is. But those were elements that I felt like that was really good and what they really should interact in these matches, now that there is, time for them to, record and all this stuff, and there's no crowd. They can do whatever they want, and then go back to normal when things go back to normal. But that was a really good match. I really did enjoy it. As far as the other cinematic match, which was Bray Wyatt against John Cena. Now, I kind of have mixed emotions about this, because it was, it was weird. I can't even call it a match, because it wasn't a match. It really wasn't. You had like a little bit of a tussle toward the end of the whole thing, but it really wasn't a match at all. That's the one flaw that I can say about it, is that it wasn't a match at all. It was just Bray Wyatt taking John Cena on this acid trip of a thing, and basically taking him to NWO, old wrestling, and WCW, old SmackDown, and he's taking him through the various Cena phases when Cena first came up on the scene, and he came in with like the ruthless aggression, one of the only times that we really seen John Cena in tights and stuff like that, going against Kurt Angle in his first match ever on the WWE programming. And it was kind of like a mixture where John Cena was in the same tights, and it was like present day, but he was looking at Bray Wyatt. But at the same time, it was interspliced with the original footage of him and Kurt Angle. And so that was like a little, I like that. I like the Dr. Thugonomics in front of the old SmackDown fist. I love that. I love the whole NWO thing, and it had some good elements to it. It really did. It was really tripped out. It was bugged out. Don't get me wrong. It was crazy. But at the same matter of fact, talking about it, I really want to go back and watch it. But it was really good. Like, this is something that I felt like this, honestly, put it like this. Honestly, this should have been put on like last week's show, Raw or SmackDown. I forgot. SmackDown. This should have been put on SmackDown. And then maybe a real, somewhat kind of a match at WrestleMania, because literally this really, like I said, the only flaw about this thing was that it wasn't a match at all. It really wasn't a match, because after Bray Wyatt turned into the Fiend at the end, and he took down John Cena and won, which it wasn't a referee, it was Bray Wyatt counting, and he ended up holding his hands up, the Fiend, and John Cena just faded away. And that was basically it. So, I mean, it was weird. It was trippy. I liked it. Used a lot of elements that I thought they should. And they was very creative with it. Like, that's what WWE need to do. They need to get creative, super creative with it. But, other than that, we had two major championship changes. which was Goldberg and Braun Strowman for the Universal Championship. And then we had Brock Lesnar versus Drew McIntyre for the WWE Championship. Both matches weren't that crazy good. I did enjoy the Drew McIntyre match a little bit more, but both matches, in a sense, kind of had the same thing. It wasn't that long. It was like one person, the champion, really had the upper hand, and then the challenger came back and won. Like, honestly, that was both matches in a handful. Like, if you literally say that, oh, the champion got the upper hand, and then the challenger came back with the upper hand and literally won. With no comeback from the champion. Just won off of that upper hand once the challenger got it. That can be said for both matches. That was kind of like, it wasn't great. And it wasn't that good. It was, I enjoyed Drew McIntyre and Brock Lesnar more because that match I really looked more forward to, because Braun Strowman and Goldberg was just a match thrown up on it, and I really didn't agree with the whole changing of the titles with him and the Fiend, with Goldberg and the Fiend. So I really wasn't into this match like I would have, and then it was like suddenly, like within like a week, you got Roman Reigns pulling out because of he wanted to make sure that he was safe. And his family was saved because of everything that's going around. And then Braun Strowman was thrown in there. So that match was kind of like, just thrown together. And it was like this whole thing. I'm going to talk about it more. I think I'm going to do a Triple W podcast. But I'm going to talk about it a little bit more on that. And it just did not feel like WrestleMania. No matter how much you want to get into it, it really did not feel like it. And I felt like it was a mistake for them having it on, still having it. They should have pushed it back to the summer. Maybe even like just did away with like SummerSlam, or combined the two. Made it still a 2-night event. A SummerSlam event on Saturday and then a WrestleMania event on like Sunday. And just did it like that. I don't know. It just, yeah. But those are just really my thoughts. The rest of the matches, some of the matches was enjoyable. What is it? The tag team match, ladder match with Morrison, Jimmy Uso, and Kofi Kingston was actually pretty good. Yeah, I mean, it was just really nothing special. Honestly, it really was nothing special. I wouldn't be surprised if this was like the lowest watched WWE WrestleMania event in history. But with that said, let's go ahead and end this podcast. Thank you guys for joining me, and there will be another podcast tomorrow where I'll be talking about more stuff. I'm going to be reviewing a new trailer for The Train to Busan. Has a sequel. The trailer dropped, and I'm going to be doing a movie review on the movie Little Women, and talking about some other stuff, what's new to rent on the stream and all that stuff. So yeah, that is it for this episode, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Peace out. Hey, before you guys leave, make sure you hit that like button as well as that subscribe button. And you see that little bell? Make sure you hit that to turn on your notifications. That way you'll be notified for anything that appears on my channel. Hope to see you guys next time. Peace out.